Church Windows Payroll. We're going to take a quick tour, a few minutes around Church Windows Payroll here. A few things that make Church Windows Payroll really unique and special for churches. Of course, it is a fully functioning payroll program. It supports payroll for uh, virtually all of your employee types that you could need. You could have employees pay employees through Church Windows Payroll, or you can pay independent contractors. But one of the things that makes Church Windows Payroll truly unique is that it supports payroll for ministers and pastors. They're very unique when it comes to taxes and payroll and reporting, and Church Windows Payroll really supports that really, really nicely. So one of the things here when we go into our employees, contractors, we see our pastor here, Larry Higgins. He's our senior minister. If we look down here in the bottom center, you'll see right to the right a Social Security number. It's a little checkbox called minister. That, when checked, tells the software that they're clergy. They are not subject to standard Social Security, Medicare, and FICA withholding. There's no reported wages, and there is no church match for the Social Security, Medicare. That, again, really makes Church Windows Payroll really very powerful, is the fact that it supports payroll for ministers. In addition to the minister checkbox there, so when that's checked, of course, nothing appears in those boxes 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the W-2 for Social Security and Medicare. When we go to our allowances tab, we also see that we do have allowances, one of which, of course, is called housing allowance. So there is no longer a need to be able to, when you have and use Church Windows Payroll, there's no need to write 2 checks, one for regular base pay and then another for the housing allowance, say. We can include all of that on one single check and have it report correctly, not including it in, say, reported wages, but then accurately show the housing allowance amount in box 14 on the W-2. So payroll, again, really our payroll unique in that it supports payroll for ministers and clergy in addition to your lay staff and contractors. Yes, of course, you've got deductions capability. Another thing that makes Church Windows Payroll really great is that it is NACHA compliant and supports direct deposit. The software produces a .dat or NACHA compliant file that, when exported and copied out of the software, then can be uploaded to your bank and your employees can be paid electronically. As part of the payroll calculation process, of course, it can print pay stubs for those direct deposit employees, and then you can distribute those before their pay is paid. In addition to these things about the employee files, there's lots of reporting capability in the software, of course. Under pay reports and export here in the upper left, we have employee contractor reports, lots and lots of reporting options up here. We also have payroll reports, lots and lots. There's always, of course, lots of payroll reporting needs. And of course, we've got some check reports as well, printing checks, printing or reprinting check stubs or EFT stubs, and your check register. Church Windows, of course, definitely supports producing your tax reports for you. So when we click on tax reports and we see an option called tax forms, Church Windows will also then open up our interface with our now partner Atrix, who helps produce our tax documents for us. So it's going to take just a couple seconds here to do this. So we're going to click no on the updater here, but we clearly see we've got our 2023-941 Schedule B report here. If I now, in my year, click the down arrow and say go back to 2022, we do have all of the 22 documents here, including the 2022 W-2s, W-3s, etc. So the software does allow you to not only produce through the Atrix interface, be able to produce all of your federal tax documents, 941, W-2s, 1099s as needed for anyone that's paid through payroll. But it also does support generating tax forms for both state and local levels as well. So if you are a state that has state taxes or income tax or income that needs to be reported and or local taxing authorities, the Atrix interface and Church Windows Payroll can help produce the documents for all of those. In addition to all of the tax reporting on there, we do have various up here, various options. Data setup, we do have also miscellaneous taxes. More and more states are, I'm taking on these what we call miscellaneous taxes. They're not federal, state, or local per se. They are considered miscellaneous. They're something different. So if your state has or is subject to miscellaneous taxes, or these now appearing more and more miscellaneous taxes, the Church Windows Payroll definitely supports that. Let's take a quick walk through a quick payroll calculation really fast, just to kind of show you how quickly and easily it can be done. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to date this out into a future date. I've got data in here, so we're just going to make this, say, June, pay date of June 15th, supporting a May 26th pay period started date and through a June 10th pay period ended. We're going to go to next. We can choose a pay type based on employees based on a pay type, pay period, or department selections, or I can go up and choose specific, and I can actually pinpoint and choose individual and payees or employees if I wish by simply unchecking and checking those that I want. So we're going to go ahead and just leave everybody, go to next. Let's say we've got a mix here of hourly and salaried employees. We're going to click on our employee Jimmy here, who's our custodian and part-time organist. And for last week, or this last pay period, or in the pay period, he did work 50 hours, not 45. So we're simply going to edit the default hours that we have set up for him. We're going to click next. Now again, folks, we've got both direct deposit and employees who receive checks. So it can do a combination of both. Here we're going to post a payroll yes. For the purposes of our demonstration today, we're not going to print the reports, but we are going to print checks, assign check numbers, and we are going to transfer to accounting. And notice it says EFT selections will appear later in the wizard. So we're going to click next. And here it shows our direct deposit employees. Let me back up a step here. If we click on Browse Payments, it does allow us to examine the net pay that we have here in the upper right for each employee. And we can, of course, see our tax withholdings. Per what I had indicated before about Larry, our senior pastor, with him highlighted, we clearly see here in the bottom center, Social Security and Medicare are grayed out. No amounts are showing. As indicated, the Social Security and Medicare for ministers is not in play. If we want to withhold the self-employment tax for them, we can, but in this case, it is showing right here that that is being withheld in the federal income tax for their quarterly filings. So then we're going to click OK. The net pay amounts look good. We're going to print checks, assign check numbers. Here we are now at generating our EFT file. So we're going to create that now. We're going to check include in EFT and click next. Here it allows me to be able to browse and choose where I want to save the file. So we're going to choose our desktop. We're going to click Save File. It has now created the file to upload to the bank in the location I've requested. And we're going to go down here to print pay stubs. Go to Next for 615. We're going to go to Next and click Print EFT Stubs. I can now ensure that there's plain paper in my printer. I'll send that to my printer here in the upper left-hand corner. And once I've printed those, click Print, I then would, grab them off the printer, examine them, ensure that they're presentable. And then when I go to Next, I click Finish. Then I go to Next, and now I'm ready to print my actual physical computer checks for my employees, for the rest of my employees. Go to Next. Here I would enter my starting check number. It then auto sequences those. I go to Next. I'm now ensuring that there's check stock in my printer. So I click Print Checks. Here it opens up my preview of my checks with the check stock in my printer. Print it. Again, I have control of whether they print it or not, so I would grab them off the printer after sending them to my printer, ensure that those checks are presentable. So now when I go to Next, it prompts me, did they print? So even if I had one that did not, I would uncheck the one or ones that did not, and it would allow me to put those back in the print queue. I do not have to void the pay and recalculate it. But in this case, for our demonstration today, we're going to assume they did print correctly. I click Next and Finish, and now it opens up seamlessly to my transfer to accounting window. As I was going to point out here in momentarily, is that payroll does link seamlessly and transfer seamlessly into our accounting module database there for your books. And so assuming everything is right here, I would simply click transfer. It asks me, do I want to transfer the payroll to accounting? Yes. And it asks me if I want to print a report of the transfer. So that, folks, in just about 10 or 15 minutes gives you a quick tour around the Church Windows Payroll module. And we really hope you found this helpful. And thank you very much.